Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's discussion, which is Improving Project Collaboration with Sage Construction Project Center. My name is Corey McDermott. I am a Customer Account Manager here at Sage, based in Beaverton, Oregon. So, want to jump in, take a look at our overall software portfolio that we offer. So, just about everyone here probably is either a user of either Sage 100 Contractor or Sage 300 Construction and Real Estate. And I like to show this slide just to show that we have several products that connect into your core accounting function. So if the only thing you're using today is either 100 Contractor or Sage 300 CRE, know that there are several additional options that we have available. And if you do have questions on those, you can always contact your local business partner or give us a call as a sales team, and we'd be happy to get you more information on any of these products. So today we're talking about our cloud-based application, Sage Construction Project Center. And the primary integrations right now are with Sage 300 CRE. We are hoping by the end of the year to have some integration with our cost information in 100 Contractor, but right now primarily that integration is with Sage 300 CRE. And so if you have Sage 300, it is going to be an installed application. It's going to be on your server. Anyone that has access to it needs to own a license and have the software installed. Project Center, on the other hand, is a web-based application. So the only thing that gets installed is going to be a connector on your back end that connects us to your accounting system. But then anyone with an email address who has access to the project that gets set up by a project administrator for you within your company is going to have access to Project Center. So you don't need a VPN connection. All you need is internet. So if you're at Starbucks on the road traveling, if you're on vacation and need to check in on the project, you're going to have access without needing to go through any of those additional steps. So starting off with the benefits, why are we looking at projects like this? Timely, convenient, and mobile access to a variety of your project documentation. That's a huge one. So just anytime you can log into your project, you can see the actual state of affairs. You can find out access to all the information. We'll be getting into what kind of information soon. Becoming more organized and productive. So all of your projects can be housed up in Project Center. The way our license model works is you get access to unlimited projects with one subscription price. Minimizing the risk of litigation here. So if you have this one system, you have defined workflows and processes, the chances are that you're going to be able to stay out of disputes as much as possible. And if you do ever get into that dispute, we have several tracking mechanisms and audit histories that you can go through to definitely get the true story. A single source of truth in our Sage Construction Project Center. Improving collaboration and driving efficiencies. This system is designed from the ground up to be a collaborative system. So the expectation is not just that the only users are going to be part of your company, but they're actually getting access to external parties as well. And we will show some of that with a demonstration today. All this should be giving you a competitive edge. Having a professional organization of your site that you can give access to subcontractors, architects, owners. All of this can be used for positive client referrals down the road. So looking at some of these different user types, we have different folks that are connecting into the Construction Project Center. As I mentioned, you can give your owner access. And important to recognize that we have different permission settings that you can set up so that owners aren't going to have access to all of your internal collaboration. They're only going to have access to what you want them to see. And that can be customized on an individual project basis. Another huge user group that we have is our GC at the home office. So at the management level, CEO, COO, they can get an overall broad picture look at how the project's going. Your ops managers, project managers, getting in, obviously, having a really good detailed look at the project. Out in the field, we have tools for the field, for your superintendents, your project engineers, your foremen, with daily field reports and access to drawings, all from our iPad or Android app. And again, subcontractors, vendors, material suppliers being able to log in and manage their submittals directly to you from Project Center. So not having to email large attachments, but actually able to just log in, follow the organization system that you've got set up, and submit those documents right to you through Construction Project Center. So what kind of documents are we referring to here? So these four drawings, specifications, RFIs, and submittals, a lot of our competitor products out there, just about everyone on the market is going to handle this core functionality. I would say where we differ from some of them is that we are a collaborative system, and the expectation is that folks from all over the industry are going to be getting into your project, anyone that needs access. Some of the additional functionality, meeting minutes, daily logs, punch lists, and our big one, cost management. Those are also going to be full workflows in Sage Construction Project Center. I like to think about what is an example project organization for a typical project that we're going to see within Project Center. So at the top of the heap here, you have an owner who has a separate contract with your general contractor and your architect. Then with the general contractor, they're going to have subcontractors working on the project. Maybe they're doing some self-perform as well. And the architect is going to have sub-consultants underneath them, your structural engineer, mechanical, civil engineer. Maybe you have some permitting bodies in as well. From my experience working in construction, one of the things that I always followed was that formal communication needs to follow your contract lines. And that is the way that Project Center works as well. So your concrete subcontractors aren't going to be communicating directly with your architect or the structural engineer. All of those formal lines of communication are going to flow through the contract channels, and that's super important whenever you are having one of these collaboration spaces. You don't want it to become the Wild West out there. You want to enforce some rules and workflows, and Project Center has all that customization that's available to you. So some of the different modules that we're looking at, and this is the last slide before we jump into the software, cost management, project management, bid management. Not going to be talking about that too much today, but would be glad to get you some more information on this or any of our other topics here today. The field app, document management, and our closeout package. So let's keep that in mind as we're thinking about the system here today, is that at the end of the job, if you've been working in Construction Project Center, you are going to have access to an automated closeout document that can include all of your documents with revisions, your meeting minutes, your RFIs, submittals. Really what it's going to do is take the place of those big banker boxes full of paper that you're turning over at the end of the job site. Really what you're going to get is an offline website that the owner can log in as long as they want and have access to all that project information. It also answers a question that I often get is, well, what happens if we sign up for SCPC a few years down the road, we're no longer a user, how do we get access to that data? Through our automated closeout package, you're getting access to the data in a nice, usable format. Also, some of the raw data if you are looking to do some imports. But I would say that is a strength of ours, is the ability to access your data in an offline format so that you're always going to have access to it. So with that, let's take a look. Got to give a little bit of a disclaimer today that there is a lot to cover within Project Center. And with our audience today, what I want to do is stick to kind of the high-level overview and recognizing that all companies are doing things a little bit differently. Do you have multiple project managers per project, or do you have multiple projects per project manager is often a way that I like to think about things. But depending on how your company's organized, the demo that we would give and what we'd cover might be a little bit different. So definitely the expectation would be, if you like what you see here today, get in touch with one of us and we'll get you some more information. So at our login screen, you just go to sagecpc.com. You're going to fill in your username and credentials, get your password. You can save those in your browser, and you can log in. Before I do that, I also want to point out that we have an upcoming RFIs given our new user interface on Friday. So what we do is have periodic trainings. Right now it's been every 2 weeks. We've been covering a new topic in some good depth. So you're going to have access to ongoing training resources and implementation. As more and more folks come onto the system, we're really getting a good user community set up out there that you're able to bounce ideas and questions off each other. So here is our welcome screen, and really the welcome screen is going to depend on what your user type is and what the last project that you were on. So where I'm going to start is in my favorite projects. This is where most of our folks are going to go, and you can look at just a few of the projects that you have access to. Now, the full list you can have organized into a folder structure that makes sense for you. So in this example, we have Sage Construction and our Sage Sales, and we have different regions. And then within each of these regions, we have projects. So if I wanted to go into my Texas Construction here, and I wanted to add the Coyote Drive-In to my favorites, I can hit the star, and then it's going to pop up into my list of favorite projects. Today I'm going to be starting in our Camp Randall improvements. And we have access to these different areas of organization. So your project setup, this is going to be for your company admin, your project admin. We're going in and setting project defaults for things like, what is my default review time on a submittal? What kind of turnaround do I want on an RFI? And who is the primary contact at the architect? My project members, that's going to be giving users access to your project. And if you're working with your subcontractors, there's a chance that they're going to already have a login based on their email address if they're working with another customer of ours using Project Center. So you can actually give access to those folks, and they're going to have access to both sites from a single login, but you are going to control the permissions on your project, and that's all going to be done through the project members in our project setup. List management. We have customization in a lot of the different areas within the software. So if there's a list of change order types, that can be customized in our list management session. And like I said, there's a lot to cover here today, and I don't want to get too bogged down in the details, but just know that with new subscriptions to Project Center, that there is going to be a line item also for the training and implementation services, where you're working with one of our consultants to answer all your questions, and then also hammer out your specific company workflows. What we find sometimes is that folks like what they see here with Project Center, they sign up, but then they realize that, hey, internally to our company, we have some standardization that we need to do to make sure that all of our projects are following the same process. So the way that training gets broken down is you have smaller sessions spread out over a period of a few weeks rather than an intensive 1 or 2 day session, so that you do have time to gather that information required. And actually, so at the end of that training and implementation, you're going to be all set up and off to the races with the product. Okay. So before I jump too much, what I'm going to be covering first off is in our project management section, looking at our RFI submittals, expediting logs, things like that. But we have access to full help, something that you might be used to seeing in some of our other applications. So stepping through, the help documentation on all of the software. But then also what I've really liked is our video learnings. So these are 1 to 2 minute YouTube videos. So if I want to see a video on creating an RFI, click on this link, 1.5 minute video that walks through the processes of how to create an RFI. And within that same video learning, for your subcontractors, how do they create RFIs, architects returning submittals, and we're constantly adding to this. You can see with the news on those videos. Okay, so jumping into RFIs, key to construction workflows, and you can have subfolders here if you want to have pre-bid RFIs or incoming from subcontractors. Each subcontractor can have their own RFI log. You can view those before you would forward those on to architect. I should note that I am talking from the perspective of a general contractor. That's where I came from in the industry, so that's the perspective I know the best. But also, just as Project Center is a collaboration hub, we do think about that is the primary use case is going to be a general contractor who's looking to collaborate. We do have some subcontractors, some of our typically like larger mechanical or electrical subcontractors that do have second and third tier subs underneath them that they're managing their collaboration as well. So in an RFI section, we have the default look is an active RFI log so that we can see what the status of the RFI is, the RFI title, and clicking on the link. If I just wanted to filter on RFIs that have wall in the title, I can type into my search bar, hit enter, and that is going to filter my list down just to the RFIs with wall in the title. Clear that out. And we can see here what's the date submitted, the due date, the status, and the transmitted date as well. So if I wanted to go ahead and create a new RFI, click on this from the project manager. In this case, I'm going to go to a different architect I have access to, and I'm going to say ceiling height in kitchen. The RFI status is open. Anything that's required is going to have an asterisk next to it. We have direction clarification. Need some confirmation. Date submitted, we can fill that in once we actually transmit our RFI. Due date is going to be set up. In this case, it's going to be 1 week in advance. If you wanted to attach some additional information over here, the question, based on mechanical requirements, is it okay per our conversation to reduce ceiling height to 7 foot 10 inches? And if I wanted to attach any files over there, I can do that as well. Oops, sorry about that. And if I just wanted to attach a drawing or an image, once this turns green, we say upload our files. And when we go and save this RFI, it's going to take us back to the log. And we have our RFI title, but it hasn't been submitted or transmitted yet. So if you wanted to create that RFI and then send it over to approval, so if maybe you're a administrative function on your project and you want your project manager to review your wording, just make sure that everything's good to go before you submit that, you hit transmit. And once you hit transmit, it's going to actually submit that over to the architect, and they are going to get an email notification in their email of choice that they have set up when they created their account. So this is looking at that actual architect's email inbox. So you can see in real time here, they actually got that, the RFI in the system, and we have the ability to respond in a couple different ways. So we can view and reply to the RFI. We call that a quick response directly here. We can download the RFI as a PDF. Go ahead and do that and see what our report looks like. Might be having some issues just based on my own installation. Just upgraded to Windows 10 last night. All of our reports are Crystal report based, so they are customizable. I find that a lot of folks do like their reports out of the box, but if you do have some customization that needs to happen, you can work with our team and get them customized to exactly what you're looking for. So if we needed to see the attachments also, so we're seeing the report and the attachment. If I want to go to the RFI in the system from that architect's look, we can see the RFI, and we say confirmed. Ceiling height at 7 foot 10 inches. If they wanted to attach any documents, they could do that as well. So what we're going to do there is send the reply. And actually what I didn't show, got a question coming in. Can RFIs be directed to a general contractor from a subcontractor? Yes, absolutely. And just for sake of time today, I'm not going to show that, but definitely can be something that we show in a one-on-one demo there as well. Concept that I want to cover is my tasks, and that is user-specific. So right now I'm logged in as the architect, and they can see whatever tasks they have coming to them. So right now we have that contractor 124, and that is added right into their task list. So we see we had a calendar site walk. It was scheduled on the 8/3. Can mark that and say, okay, we did that. Hide selected. And then we have another RFI to respond to in this 124. So that's still an open RFI in their court. But what we did do, we hit a reply. So coming back in, we can see, yes, confirmed the ceiling height is at 7 foot 10 inches. So what we can do is actually track a discussion thread throughout this. So that if there is some back and forth discussion, all of that history gets tracked within the RFI. Once I'm happy with that response, I, as the project manager, can say answer, and it fills this confirmation right up here, the reply confirmed, and the height I'm at 710. Once we say update, clicked a little bit too quickly. In that contractor, now we say the RFI has been closed, submitted, transmitted, what was its due date. So that would be, in the simplest case, if I ask the question and it comes back from the architect, it's getting closed out and all our statuses are being tracked live. If I wanted to see an overall report of all my RFIs, go to my report, click on RFIs, can do several filtering criteria on that, but then again, these are crystal reports, so they're customizable. But seeing all of my RFIs here filtered by status, it's not super clean, just based on the settings that I used here. But to recognize when you do want to get the RFI log in a nice printable version, you can do that as well. With each of our reports, you can actually schedule these to be delivered. So from my schedule wizard, I can select the project that I'm going to be working on. If I want to go to my Camp Randall improvements here, which section do I want to work with? So all the reports can be scheduled out. We say next, which version, all of our formatting options. And did you want to send that out daily? Well, probably don't want to send that out daily, but weekly. Do you want to send it out Mondays, Thursdays? Something along those lines. So think about using Sage Construction Project Center as an additional assistant for you. If you get everything set up all in the beginning of the project, you can really use it as a tool to drive efficiencies downstream. And the other thing a lot of folks ask about is, how do we set up new projects within the system? I'd say there's several different ways to do it, but one of the things that we do like is the ability to create a template project. So if you have a couple different project types, say that you do office renovations, you do ground-up shopping facilities, and whatever the market segmentation is that you're looking at there, you could have a project template for each type of project that you use, and then when you go to spin up a new one, you copy your template folders with all your folder structures, and can be off to the races really pretty quickly. These are all the things that we like to do for our users. Just we want this to be an effective and efficient tool for you in all aspects of your project. Okay, so I covered the RFIs in quite a bit of depth today, and I will say that it's similar for your submittal process in the sense that you have header information, then down at the bottom is what you're working with. Expediting logs, I like to show this as another time-saving method that we use. And so if you're going through the beginning of your project process and you comb through your spec book and you're pulling each of your divisions, what the descriptions are, item descriptions, your submittal due date if you're backing off your schedule, your review times and lead times based on how long it takes to actually order that material, you can set that all up in advance. And from there, you can actually create your submittal packages directly from those Excel sheets. So this has already been converted over to a submittal, but each of that product, all that product data comes in. So your project management, you go from expediting logs over to submittals, and those can all be tracked per division by reports. You can give access to your subcontractors and transfer everything over. Jump into document management here. So in our plans, what I want to show is we have our current plans, can jump into architectural, and if I go to my A01 sheet, I can see my original and then follow along with each of our versions, along with the issue date. And when did they come from? If you make those notes, is it a bulletin? Is it an ASI? Was it part of RFI sketch? So sketches come in as well. You can manage it. And then all of those are going to be transferred out to our iPad app as well. I'm not going to show that live, but generally what we're looking at here is you have a list of all your projects, you have daily logs, you have plans, you have specs. And the daily logs can all capture your weather information based on your project zip code. You can take photos, attach those, do simple markups. You can track your crews on site for different subcontractors. And you can also sync your documents. So when a new version does come up, you can sync just the folders that you're interested in. And do you want to do that over Wi-Fi, or do you want to do that on a 4G connection as well? So access to all of your projects. If you wanted to compare revisions, we have the ability to do that. And simple markup with basic customization, you can email from your tablet as well. The final thing that I'm going to cover within the software, and running just a few minutes behind schedule here, it looks like I spent too much time on R5s, but we have access to all of our job cost information in Sage 300. And I actually have a question here. What's the difference between Sage 300 Project Management and Construction Project Center? Great question. Project Management is part of the 300 CRE package, and it's distinctly not a collaborative software, that it's working internally to your company, but you don't have people logging into Project Management, the PJ module, like you do in Project Center. It's also not hosting your documents and pushing out to iPads like Project Center does. So if you wanted to pull in your estimate, your original budget, your contract info, and schedule of values, pretty easy for anyone that has Project Access again to come in here and look at what your budget is, along with your pending change orders, approved changes. If you want to export that to Excel, you're always going to have access to do that from any of our financial reports here. So, you know, nothing too special here, but if you want to do any pivot tables or some what-if analysis, you can definitely get it in a usable format for yourself. Pay apps is something we're excited about and coming soon. Right now we're getting some feedback from our customers on exactly what they want that to look like and how they want to collaborate, but some exciting features like that coming out. Project Center is definitely still in the development stage in the sense that we're actively developing it, we're adding new features, we're improving workflows. Just today I saw that they changed some button wording in our submittals because they wanted to just make that more intuitive for users as they're moving forward. So you can actually make commitments and subcontracts directly in the software, and commitment events as well. So handling the whole change process within your owner contract and your subcontracts. You can go from potential change order to change order request to a full change order, and you can mix and match these things so you can track their progress through, and you can have multiple change order requests into a single change order. Lots of flexibility and customization there. Whatever workflows we need to do. That's actually one of the big selling points of our product is the integration between Sage 300 on the backside and the change management. You know, one of the great things about 300 is its flexibility and how it manages and handles changes. So that actually makes the integration kind of tough, just because you have to handle all the different cases. And Sage Construction Project Center has been with Sage for 2 years, and a big bulk of that has been actually just working on really getting that cost management integration set up correctly and working well. Like I said, one of the last things I wanted to show you was our closeout sample. So at the end of the project, you can request a closeout document. Wrong one. And this is our camp rental improvements again. And we have access to all of our project management modules within our submittals. If I just wanted to look at my Division 5, Division 3, all of our meeting minutes, so how many OACs did we have and what did we cover, and within our documents, our current plans and architectural. So we can see all of the revisions and have access to those. So if questions do arise, you can go back and answer lots of questions there. All right. So covered a lot. Our various modules here. What were our solution benefits? Risk management, having everything under one roof. You're going to have that one system that you're going to, single source of truth, collaboration with whoever on your project you want to collaborate with. But that said, we also recognize that not all architects or subcontractors are going to be wanting to play ball. So all of our workflows also have, they make sense if you don't have a fully collaborative environment as well. Some projects will, some projects won't. It just comes down to whatever makes sense for you on that project. Having all your documentation, organization, and finally close with closeout. So I'm not going to talk specifics on pricing, but do have some questions. Everything is included for one price within the software. The only difference that you pay for is based on the concurrent users within your company, and that comes in bands of 5. So what we start folks out with is 5 concurrent users. Is the entry point into the system. From there it goes 5, 10, 15, 20, I think then it jumps to 30, 40, 50, then on up to 100. With that price, you're getting free unlimited projects. So you can have, if you have 1,000 projects that are small, you can do those. Or if you have 3 very large projects, you can handle that as long as you're concurrent user access. Unlimited storage and file size within those projects. So we're not limiting you based on 10 drawings per project or anything like that. We're also giving unlimited collaborators within the price. What we don't want to have is people doing workarounds where you have to give like a subcontractor shared login. Because if you're having a fully collaborative system, we want our pricing structure to make sense along with that. So if you do have some questions, you can email me, corey.mcdermott@sage.com. You can also give us a call to our customer account manager sales line, 1-800-858-7095. And you can also talk to your local business partner. They all have information here. We're working with them regularly to get them certified and getting them good knowledge on Sage Construction Project.